Hello folks, welcome back to the Wikipedia world, and I am Abhinay Gupta. So today again we will be continuing with the winding up of the companies, right? And it is regardless to say that we will be covering the provisions of Companies Act 1956, right? So in the previous lectures we have already covered the concept of compulsory winding up, right? And we have also seen the gist of what is the voluntary winding up, right? So we were able to understand the basic difference between the compulsory winding up and the voluntary winding up, correct? So I have only given you the introduction of what voluntary winding up is so far, right? But in today's lecture we'll move ahead a little more, that means another step, to understand what is the declaration of solvency and what are the provisions that are related to it. Who prepares it? When is it to be prepared? What are the legal obligations? What is the penalty if it goes wrong? What are the circumstances? What are the situations? A lot of things about the declaration of solvency, right? And remember, this declaration of solvency will only be given in case of the members' voluntary winding up. If you have the creditors' voluntary winding up, you will not have the concept of the declaration of solvency. And I hope you are very well able to differentiate between the two. Right? So far, when we have discussed the concept of the voluntary winding up, right, I have given you the gist of the members' voluntary winding up and the creditors' voluntary winding up. So I think based on that, you are able to evaluate why do not we need the declaration of solvency when we talk about the creditors' voluntary winding up. If no, let me give you a hint. In the previous lecture, right, we discussed that the members' voluntary winding up is actually undertaken in the situation where the company is solvent and the company thinks that yes, we are in a position to pay off the debt, right? Either it's the case of say ordinary resolution, where as per the article we have completed the task for which we were formulated, for which we were incorporated, or we have completed the period for which we were incorporated, or otherwise if there is some other reason we pass a special resolution, right? But in all these three situations you go for a winding up only in the condition when you think that yes, you are in a position to pay off all your liabilities and all your debt. But in any case, at any point of time, if you think that your assets will not be able to compensate for all your liabilities, right, the cash you have, the assets that you have that you're gonna sell, the contributories, the debts that somebody owes to the company and stuff, right, those things are not enough to pay off all the creditors and all the liabilities. In that case, you cannot give away a declaration of solvency, because you are not solvent. You know that you will not be able to pay off all the liabilities, right? So declaration of solvency basically, now if you understand, is a document that the directors of the company would prepare. For what purpose? To show that yes, we are in a position to pay off all the liabilities, we are solvent to that extent. But in case of creditors winding up comes into play only when you are not able to pay off, right? We said if you are solvent, if you are able to pay off, it goes smoothly as a member's voluntary winding up. But at any point of time, if the liquidator feels that no, we do not have enough resource, we don't have the money, we don't have assets to sell, we have no more contributories supporting us, so how do we pay off the liability? We won't. Now the procedure changes. Now you will have preference wise whom to give, whom not to give, what is the proportion to distribute, what are the other sources, what is the importance, what is the priority, right, the government taxes and all. So then the proceedings of the winding up, they get converted. Now you have a different view of winding up, a different path, a different pattern of winding up, and that is basically known as the creditors voluntary winding up, right? So you understand the difference between members voluntary winding up and the creditors voluntary winding up, right? So it is clear for you to understand that the declaration of solvency can only be given in case of members voluntary winding up, because you are not solvent in the case of creditors voluntary winding up, right? So today when we are going to study about the declaration of solvency, this is one prime thing that you need to realize and you need to understand, that when we are talking about the declaration of solvency, we are dealing only and only with the members' voluntary winding up. Clear with that? So should we move ahead with the provisions of the declaration of solvency? Yes. So the first thing you need to know is who prepares the declaration of solvency. What do you think? Who can prepare the declaration of solvency? Can the employees do it? No. Can the members do it? No. Can the secretary do it? Not again. Can the liquidator do it? No. Then who prepares the declaration of solvency? Who is the authority in the company who has the knowledge of the entire financial statement, the knowledge of the position of the assets, the position of the liability? Who is the relevant person in the company who is equipped with the knowledge and with the ability to prepare the declaration of solvency? Indeed, they are the directors, right? The directors are basically concerned with the management of the company. They have been through the company, in and out, basically the whole time directors. right? They know the company in and out, and they know the position of the debtors, the creditors, the liabilities, the debts, the debentures, everything. So those are the people who will have to evaluate their financial statement, their financial position as on date, and when they're applying for winding up, and then have to give a declaration that yes, we have all the resources available to pay off the debt, right? There are other conditions also we'll see as we move ahead with the provisions of the section, right? Okay, I did not mention the section for this. The section for the declaration of solvency will be 488. So those of you who are enthusiastic, learn all the sections of the subject, go for it. It is 488 for the declaration of solvency. Others who think that they won't be able to mug up all the sections, you go with the relevant chapters like the directors, if you talk about the accounts of companies, audit of companies, right? Those are the chapters where you require the section because you refer it to other places as well. Now clear with that? Okay, so the first thing that we have understood and we have grasped is that the declaration of solvency will be prepared by the directors of the company, right? Now, do you think the directors, they have given the responsibility to any one of the director or a majority of director or a group of director, right? Do you think they will be, now for example, I'll take an example. Now suppose in the company XYZ Limited, you have 7 directors, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? So what will be the majority? Because the provision of this section says that the declaration of solvency has to be prepared by the majority of directors. So what is the majority if there are 7 directors? It is 4, right? But remember, if there are only 2 directors, then all of the directors will have to prepare. Don't say it's majority, one can prepare. No, it's 2, right? Minimum 2 directors. So in case of 7, 4 are the majority. So 4 will have to prepare. So they select any 4 among them and they'll prepare the declaration of solvency. And those 4 people, maybe they were not very well equipped. There's the whole-time director or the managing director who is not a part because he has some other relevant activities also to perform. He has other responsibilities to undertake. So he did not get time, right? But he was the person who knew the company in and out, right? So these 4 directors who were free for this point of time, they prepared the declaration of solvency and passed it forward. Now, do you think you can rely on that? They can at any point of time because they want the winding up procedure to go very smooth. They'll say, yeah, we are solvent. Please continue with it. And at the end, if you're not able to pay, they'll say, oops, I'm sorry. There was a mistake. So do you think it is such a lenient situation? It's such an easy task to do? No, because your liquidation is an important aspect. Your winding up is a very important procedure. When the liquidator is here, he prepares his plan of action based on your declaration of solvency. That yes, this is the path that we'll follow because we have enough surplus, enough money to pay off everybody. But when it will know that no, we are going deficit, we don't have enough money to pay off the debts, then they will have to apply their prudence, then they'll have to apply their knowledge, they'll have to apply their experience to judge the priority, to give the proportionate distribution and stuff, right? So it's an entire different procedure. That is why your declaration of solvency plays a very important role, and that cannot be let loose, right? So the directors are vested with a lot of responsibility with that, and hence they are required to verify it via an affidavit. Prepare an affidavit, sign it and say that yes, we say it is solvent, the company is solvent, because otherwise if something goes wrong at the end, then you will be in trouble. It's not just a mere statement that you write it down on a piece of paper and you say that we are solvent, here it is, here's the report. No, the report can be fraudulent, the report can be manipulated, right? But if you give an affidavit, you are legally bound. Now if something goes wrong, you can be charged for that, right? That is why an affidavit is very important to verify the declaration of solvency, right? So when they provide you with the declaration of solvency, right, what is it that they basically specify? Yeah, we have the ability to pay the debt, right? But what does that mean? I have one of my asset, right, and I know there's one person who's, it's not saleable in the market, it is an asset worth 10 crore land, it is not saleable in the market. People are not ready to give more than 2 crores for that, and that is not enough for me. But there's one person, he says 10 years down the line I'll pay 10 crores for this. So will you wait for that 10 years to pay off your liabilities? No. But the directors will say we are solvent, we are in a position to sell it off for 10 crores. Please don't point a finger on us. What we declared was correct. No. So for that there is a boundary defined for that, right? They're bound with certain limitations, they're bound with certain facts, right? So what is it? So when the directors provide the declaration of solvency, right, basically what they mean to say is that either we have no debt at all, everything is clear, just come up, do the proceedings, move away and wind up the company, dissolve it. We have done all the things, no debts are pending with the company, no liabilities, no debentures, no creditors, nothing. Or They'll say, okay, we have the debts. If you look at our balance sheet, if you look at our financials, we have a lot of liability, we have the creditors, we have the debt, but we also have sufficient asset that if you come for winding up, right, you sell off all the assets, you dispose of the assets, then you will get the required amount of money, right, and you can use that money to pay off the liability. And that is the crux. That is what you need at the end of the day, right? So if your purpose is fulfilled by that yeah, we are able to pay off the liability, so your winding up procedure goes smooth, and at the end your target is achieved, that all the assets have been disposed, all the liabilities have been paid off, and then the dissolution becomes very simple for you. That the company has no pendencies, no liabilities, dissolve it. One stroke and the registrar strikes the name of the register of the company, right? So that is what is required. So the directors will say that either we have no debt, or we are declaring that okay, whatever debt we have, we will need 3 years period and we'll be able to pay them off, either with the assets that we already have, or there are some more things that are coming in, there are some more contributors, there are parties who are supposed to bring in funds to the company. The contributories, they say they'll bring in fund to the company, and accordingly in the next 3 years we will be able to wind up the company completely, paying off all the liabilities that we have. So that is the declaration of solvency that they give, right? But what if at the end of 3 years they are not able to fulfill the task? Then there comes a problem, and that is why we have taken an affidavit, so that we can charge them for what they are declaring, right? And now, when do you think that the declaration of solvency has to be prepared? Is it on the date of voluntary winding up, when the members are passing the resolution? That today we pass a resolution that yeah, our objects as per the article are over, we have accomplished it, and that was the only object for which the company was created, and hence we are planning to dissolve the company. And then the directors say, okay, let us prepare the declaration of solvency. They prepare it within 1 week and they submit. No, that is not the procedure, because in the general meeting, right, when the members are passing the resolution for winding up the company, they will also appoint the liquidator, right? And they'll have to be sure that yes, we will be able to wind up, because that is the only case where we consider that yes, it will be the members voluntary winding up. So don't you think that the declaration of solvency should be given prior to the resolution? It has to be, right? Because if it is not given prior to the resolution, the members are not aware. They will not know whether the company is solvent enough to pay off the liabilities, right? How does the member come to know about this? Members are not into the day-to-day management of the company. They don't know the in and out, they don't know the financial position of the company exactly the way the directors do, right? So the directors will need to prepare this declaration of solvency before going for the resolution, before calling the meeting, right? And the law says that we should have at least a 5 weeks gap between the preparation of the declaration of solvency and the meeting. Why? Because once the director prepares the declaration of solvency, right, and they are sure that yes, we can go ahead with the members voluntary winding up, that is when they call the meeting of the members. Because if they are not able to prepare the declaration of solvency, if they think that they are not solvent, then they will have to call the meeting of the creditors as well, along with the members. But they have to decide, right? They will not call the creditors, they will call only the members. And when the members are coming for the meeting, in the notice they'll say that yes, we are planning to wind up the company, it's time, and we are calling you to pass that resolution. So even the members who are coming for the meeting, the shareholders meeting, they will be mentally prepared. They can go through the declaration of solvency, they can go through the financials, they can see, okay, everything is going well, and then they come and they pass a resolution. It is not a one day task. Okay, declaration solvency prepared, tomorrow pass the resolution, day after tomorrow wind up. No, it is not like that, right? It takes substantial amount of time. Members are not living next door, right? So the law says, okay, reasonably let us keep 5 weeks over there. There should be a 5 weeks gap between the declaration of solvency and passing the resolution, which means that the declaration of solvency should be made 5 weeks prior to passing the resolution. Clear? And then the law again goes up, the Companies Act, section 488, again goes ahead to say that okay, you have prepared the declaration of solvency, but before calling the meeting of the members, because this will most probably be the last meeting of the members, right? Or they can have one more at the time of dissolution, or if there is an issue, but probably this will be the good last meeting of the members. So before going ahead with passing the resolution about the voluntary winding up, make sure that you also submit this declaration to the registrar, right? And that will be done prior to passing the resolution, right? So it says even the registrar has to be prepared that yes, if you are going for the voluntary winding up, you will have the liquidator. The company will be wound up very soon, because if you don't have any debt, the liquidator does not have a lot of tasks to do, So it will be wound up very soon. So instead of giving to the registrar 30 days post that, and then the registrar starts its procedure for striking of the name and then resolution and stuff, do one thing, keep it informed well in advance. So before you pass that resolution, you provide or you declare or you register with the registrar that yes, we are going to pass the voluntary winding up resolution, and this is the declaration of solvency that we have, right? So the next heading on your screen is that it should be registered with the registrar, that is prior to the date of resolution again. Now this declaration of solvency that the directors are preparing, right, don't you think that they should also include concrete evidences that yes, whatever we are declaring is correct? Okay, they have given the affidavit, but what is the big deal? Tomorrow if something goes wrong, charge them, right? We understand it, they can be charged for that, but ultimately what happened is the liquidator wasted its time. The proceedings went in the wrong direction. The people have been paid. It is a big responsibility. When you know everybody can be paid, you just go on paying everybody without going to the preference, and at the end there's shortage of funds. For example, you're not able to pay off the government's debt, you're not able to pay off the workmen, you're not able to pay off the secured creditors. What do you do now? Oh my god, I'm blank. The liquidator would raise his hand. Please punish the directors. The directors are punished. But what happened? What will be the conclusion? What will you do by punishing the directors? Nothing. Those secured creditors, they are at the task. They are at loss, right? Their debt has gone for a toss now. So what do you do in that situation? So what they say is that we should take the precaution beforehand. So along with the declaration of solvency that the directors are giving, we will also call for the auditor's report. But now again to the situation. When does the auditor prepare its report? At the end of the year? When the financials are prepared, when the balance sheet is closed, the draft balance sheet is prepared, all the operations of the year has been closed, and then the auditors are called for auditing, and then they give on their views or their opinions on the financial statement. But do you think that the AGM will also be held after the year is concluded and everything all the time? No, there may be situations, okay, it's a coincidence that the AGM is also held and the voluntary winding up is declared at the time of the finalization of the accounts, but at some time it can also be done in the middle of the year. Getting? So the auditor will have to be called specially and requested that, dude, please prepare a report from the end of the previous year or the previous period for which you have already given us a report, right? So for example, if the auditor has given them the audit report or the opinion for the period ending 31st March 2014, right, and the voluntary winding up is taking place in September 2014, so now you will have to prepare a report on the period that starts from 1st April 2014 to 31st or to 30th September 2014 till the date when you are passing the resolution, not the resolution, sorry, when you are passing the declaration of solvency. So whatever is the practical date before the declaration of solvency up to which the auditor can give its report, to that practicable day. They do not define that, okay, 1 week, 2 weeks. It is case specific, right? It can be practicable, it can be not practicable for other situations. So they say whatever practicable for you, the closest date prior to the date of declaration of solvency, please prepare an auditor's report. So the auditor will also come, they will prepare the report, they'll also give their declaration that okay, this is the report, according to this is the statement, or this is the position of the balance sheet, the position of the profit and loss account, this is the statement of all the assets and all the liabilities that the company have, right? Because that makes it very simple for you to understand that there's a difference between it, right? And you understand that yes, the report shall relate to the period commencing from the date when the last profit and loss, up to which the last profit and loss have been prepared, and from then till the last practicable date before the declaration of solvency, that period will be covered, and you give the profit and loss statement, you give the balance sheet, the position of the asset, the position of the liability, because that will show the correct position, and that will complement the declaration of solvency given by the directors, right? Even the liquidator can see, right? He is an educated person, he can analyze with the financials, with the auditor's report, that okay, the position is going good, and they either have no debt as per the statement, or even if they have that, we can see surplus amount of assets that can be used to realize those liabilities. So up to that, it is very clear that the declaration of solvency is to be prepared by the directors, verified by an affidavit. They'll have to show that yes, they are able to pay the debt or they have no debt, and that has to be made 5 weeks prior to passing the voluntary resolution by the members, and it has to be registered with the registrar also before the date of resolution, and it has to be accompanied by the auditor's report, right? So this is the 6 points that we have seen and we have understood in detail. Now you don't need to mug up the 6 points. You already know, okay, when we are going with the declaration of solvency prepared by directors, they are responsible, so affidavit, and also the auditor's report has to be attached 5 weeks prior to the resolution, and also with the registrar before the resolution. Finish. And what is the content? Either we have no debt or we will be able to pay off whatever we have. That is it. Small topic, declaration of solvency. Now, once you know the concept behind, once you know the storyline behind, it becomes very easy for you to understand, right? Because if you go on to mug up things, how much will you be able to mug up? You cannot mug up the entire law. You cannot mug up all the sections. You can mug it up, but you'll forget it again. That is a tendency of your brain, right? So that is why if you understand, you can visualize the scenario. Oh, Mr. Director is standing over there. So he's preparing the declaration of solvency. Auditor is again sitting aside preparing the report. Then they prepared it, they issued it, given this to the registrar, and they are working towards the hall where they are going to have the members voluntary winding up. So you can picturize it, and once you picturize it, it seeps into your brain, right? And also understand that the declaration of solvency in the case of members voluntary winding up is very important. If you do not provide a valid declaration of solvency, the resolution that has been passed goes void. All the proceedings that have taken place post the declaration of solvency, all of them will be void. Why? Because declaration of solvency is the crux, right? That is the base, that is the foundation on which you are building the entire proceeding, that on which you are building the entire winding up procedure. If that base is not correct, the entire building collapses, right? So section 488, the declaration of solvency, is one of the most important aspect of the members voluntary winding up. Before that, you cannot initiate members voluntary winding up, right? So that is why if there is anything that goes wrong, then we'll have penalty for that. Penalty on the directors, right? What is the penalty? That they may be sent to jail for 6 long years. My God, 6 years is not a small period, right? We say lifetime imprisonment, that is 14 years. Half of it is 7 years, and they are close to that. 6 years of imprisonment. Although the monetary limit is not so high, they'll have to pay a fine of rupees 50,000. Understand, this act was prepared long back 1956, and at that point of time 50,000 was a huge amount. Today we don't value 50,000. You must be thinking, sir, if you compare our stipend, 50,000 is too much. I understand. Even I have been through stipend field, right? But 50,000 on the layman's term, if you consider today's date as a penalty, they'll say, okay, let us give a declaration 50,000 rupees. Come on, if it's at risk, keep it at stake. So 50,000 is not a big amount. So when you go refer to the provisions of the winding up and this section of declaration of solvency in the new section, in the new act, you will have a very huge amount for that. Because 6 years imprisonment, you are equating 6 years imprisonment with 50,000, right? So it is a little illogical for you in the current scenario, but that is what you have to remember. That is why I'm laying a stress on that, so that you don't get confused. Okay, penalty fine is 50,000, imprisonment must be 1 year. That is what you think in your examination when you don't recall. Remember, imprisonment is 6 years, and 50,000 was a huge amount at that point of time. Because where you tend to make mistake is other provisions, you are referring to the Companies Act 2013. Over there, if you see the penalty 50,000 to 1 lakh to 5 lakh, that is the limit that goes for even small things. So when you see it 50,000, you think, okay, it's a small thing. No, it's not a small thing compared to the imprisonment, right? That is constant from 1956 to 2013 imprisonment period. Yeah, 6 years was 6 years then, what is 6 years today? The value of money has gone down, not the time. The time has gained its importance, right? So the penalty for wrong declaration would be 6 years imprisonment and fine up to rupees 50,000. Clear with that? So that is all. That is all about the topic. That is all about this lecture, and that is all about the declaration of solvency. And remember, if you get a trick question in the examination that the directors are passing a resolution by circulation, remember that is not allowed. Why? Referring to the importance. Even if this was not told in the class, you should have understood it by yourself. That if you're talking about something so serious, so important, you cannot pass a resolution by circulation for that. You have to have a resolution passed in the board meeting where you sit, where the majority of directors they pass an affidavit, they call the auditors, everything is done, right? So that is all about the lecture today. So in the next lecture, we'll start with the proceedings of the members voluntary winding up. This is the initiation. We'll see the entire procedure, right? So please stay tuned until the next class. This is Abhinay Gupta signing off. Thank you and bye-bye.